Next, we have a tweet from Pieter Levels, which kind of goes into like some of the emotions and philosophy that I believe a lot of engineers have had to or are currently tackling in terms of how they feel about coding and how coding has changed in the age of AI, because we no longer write code manually. And he speaks to like this idea of like he misses going to bed with a coding challenge he has to get through and then wake up in the shower, he gets the answer, and he screams eureka. That was a great feeling back in the day. That was something like very unique to coding as well, I believe. Like obviously like problem solving was the main problem, and that's where it's like, if you're solving leak codes and stuff, you can still have this experience. You don't need to use AI for it. But in terms of like writing software that gets delivered as products, that experience doesn't really exist as much anymore. Now, as opposed to like going inside of your brain to try to figure these things out, it's almost like prompting your way and using discovery with the internet. But even then, it was like the best engineers, I feel, were always like super tapped into all of the available solutions to problems. And it was like the more problems you solved, the bigger tool set you had to solve future problems. And AI is basically like 100x on that, where it's like now you can explain the problem and it can use its pattern matching as opposed to us having to do the pattern matching to figure out what the best solution might be. For example, like the Bloom filters we talked about yesterday, like that's a very fascinating data structure that you can utilize for the specific problem that Vercel had for their redirects. But if you don't know about that data structure or you don't like research the problem very intensely, you won't find it. Whereas like AI, I don't know, like I haven't tested it, but my guess would be like if you ask it something that can avoid false negatives and, can accept some false positives, you would probably end up with a Bloom filter from like asking Claude that. So Pieter goes on as well saying, which I agree with, that you just have to accept the world is permanently changed and it's not going back. That's why you have to be very quick to adapt. You always have to try these new things out and you have to like focus on first principles. That's what people used to talk about back in the day. It was kind of like a buzzword, but I really believe in it as well. It's like, what problem are you actually trying to solve? We're not trying to solve writing code. We're trying to solve people's problems using technology, right? So AI has made that a lot easier. And like he says, just aggressively embrace it and change myself instead. If the fun in solving challenges is gone, where else can I find the fun? And he says like that comes from building things. But, if you're interested in solving problems, like the problems are not gone, and AI is not fully there for solving unique problems. Like it needs that human driver, and the human driver, like we talked about with prompting previously, just makes such a big difference that, if you're creative and you're trying to build things or just trying to solve problems for people using technology, it's never been a more exciting time. The only people who are really suffering are the people that truly prefer to write code by hand. That is becoming a bit archaic, but nonetheless, it does still exist for now. And still deciding what to write, making sure things are good, making sure you refactor and improve things before moving on to the next feature, and just principles in general of engineering, I believe, have become more true than ever. So it's not like the principles have changed, it's just the way that we utilize those principles and the efficiency we have to implement those principles with very small teams has become more efficient than ever.